What stepmother destroyed her own wedding in 15 minutes? I, 22F, have two siblings, my younger sister Lila, 18, and my brother Matt, 25. Our dad has been single for most of our lives, since our mom passed when I was 9. He raised us the best he could, and we're close. Not perfect, but a pretty solid unit. Then came Angela. Angela, 45F, was his fiancée. They met on a dating app and things moved fast. Too fast. Within 6 months she was moved in, redecorating Reed, erasing all traces of our mom, and calling herself our bonus mom. Cringe. She was one of those people. You know, the manifest your dream life crowd. Vision boards, crystals, smoothies made with moon water, and endless lectures about how we all needed to raise our vibrations to become a real family. And by we, she meant us, not her. I kept my distance. Lila outright hated her. Matt just nodded a lot and avoided conflict. But Dad was in love, blind, tired, and desperate for peace. Fast forward to last weekend, the wedding. Backyard ceremony, all white everything, Angela's Pinterest board come to life. But the vibes were off. Tense. Like, we all sensed the storm before the first clap of thunder. We were barely 15 minutes into the whole thing when the wedding imploded. Like, imploded, and not in the cute rom-com way. Think, screaming, crying, wine thrown in someone's face, guests leaving before appetizers, and me quietly texting my group chat. She just lost her damn mind. What triggered the chaos? It started with the vows. Angela wrote her own. Of course. She got up, looked at Dad, then turned to us, his kids, and said the line that detonated the whole day. I promise to love you, even when your children reject me, betray you, and poison this family with the memory of a woman who should have stayed in the past. You read that right. She called our dead mother a poison in the middle of her own wedding. On mic. In front of 90 people. You could hear a gasp ripple across the guests like a damn wave at a football game. Lila looked like she was about to lunge at her. I actually laughed, one of those short, shocked, disbelieving barks. Matt just stood up and walked out. Then all hell broke loose. After Angela said that line, the silence that followed was deafening. No birds chirping. No wind. No cousin sneezing. Just pure, oxygen-free silence. My dad stood frozen, holding the vow booklet like it had just turned into a dead squirrel. I swear, even the officiant, Angela's weird Reiki healer friend, looked like she regretted agreeing to this gig in exchange for exposure and positive energy. Then it happened. Lila, 18, future lawyer, queen of holding grudges and not her tongue, stepped forward and said, into the mic Angela had just set down. Our mom died. You don't get to erase her because you want a Pinterest family. Gasps. Again. Someone near the back whispered, oh my God, she's right. Angela snapped. She snatched the mic out of Lila's hand and, I kid you not, started yelling about how grief is a low vibration and how we were stuck in an emotional frequency that blocks healing. She literally said, you're all still trauma bonded to a ghost, and I'm trying to bring light into this family. At this point, Matt was already in his car texting me. Tell Dad I'll be at the bar down the street. This is cursed. Now, our Aunt Denise, Mom's sister, was there. She's 5 feet 1 inch, sharp as a tack, and had been holding it together until Angela said ghost. Denise stood, calmly walked up to the drinks table, grabbed a glass of red wine, walked back, and deadpan, threw it straight at Angela's wedding dress. Angela screamed like someone had thrown acid on her. Which, to be clear, it was Cabernet, not acid. Dad just stood there like his brain had blue-screened. I've never seen a man look more like he wanted to evaporate on the spot. Then came the guest exodus. One couple slipped out quietly. Then another. Pretty soon, like 40% of the guests were walking out. People awkwardly grabbing favors on the way like, well, might as well. Angela, soaking in wine and fury, screamed at everyone. Fine. Go. None of you understand what it means to heal. You're all just broken people enabling each other. Someone muttered, therapy's $20 at the clinic, Angela. I still don't know who said it, but they're my hero. Finally, Dad puts his hand up and says quietly, Angela, maybe we should just stop this. She turned to him like he'd slapped her. You're letting them ruin us? And he said, I quote, no. I'm realizing they're just showing me what I was too blind to see. I almost clapped. Lila did clap. Angela stormed off in her soggy $2,000 dress, shrieking something about how we'd regret this when we were old and bitter and divorced like our mother. Yeah, she said that. To which Lila screamed back, she died, you demented yogurt. I blacked out from secondhand embarrassment and rage. We stayed behind to help clean up. Dad apologized about a dozen times. Said he felt like an idiot, said he didn't know she'd go that far. We told him we forgave him. We did. he's still our dad. Just one who got duped by someone who thinks grief is optional and moon crystals can fix family trauma. Angela hasn't contacted any of us since. But we're hearing whispers that she's telling people we sabotaged the wedding because we're emotionally toxic. Honestly, if being emotionally toxic means defending my dead mom's honor and my sanity, then toxic it is. We woke up the next morning at Dad's house, me, Lila, Matt, and Aunt Denise all crashed in various corners. It felt like a crime scene, empty champagne flutes, flower petals in places flowers shouldn't be, and Angela's discarded barefoot heels still stuck in the grass. Lila summarized it best. It feels like we survived a natural disaster, but the disaster was a woman in a dress with chakras out of alignment. Dad was quiet. Not sad, just deflated. Like someone had finally shut off the Angela spell and left behind a middle-aged man blinking at the damage. That's when Angela's final form revealed itself via email. Around 9 a.m., my dad got a 4-paragraph email titled, "My Truth, a Message from a Woman Who Tried." The highlights. She called us emotional parasites who fed on Dad's guilt. Said we were brainwashed by our mother's ghost, I'm not kidding. Accused Aunt Denise of assault with intent to humiliate. Claimed the wine throwing was symbolic of generational curses. Said she sensed hex energy at the wedding and that Lila radiated hostility from her solar plexus. She also attached a photo of a cracked mason jar of her homemade moon water that had exploded in the freezer overnight, which she took as a spiritual sign that we had rejected her love so violently the universe itself fractured the harmony. Lila printed it out and hung it on the fridge. Said it's her new favorite piece of surrealist literature. Angela must have sent a mass email because soon our family group chat, which was previously used for things like potluck assignments, exploded. Angela's sister replied first. Please stop dragging Moonwater into your meltdowns. It's embarrassing. Dad's cousin, who had live-streamed part of the disaster on Facebook, by the way, said, "Did you just accuse Lila of having evil vibes? She's literally 18 and studying psychology." Then Aunt Denise just dropped this gem. If your spiritual harmony can be shattered by a teenager and a glass of Merlot, perhaps it's time for reflection, not projection. 10 out of 10, no notes. Dad finally replied, not to the group chat, not to the email, but in a personal message to Angela. We didn't read it, obviously. But he showed us the last line. I wanted a partner. Not a therapist I never asked for, with a superiority complex and a vendetta against my children's grief. He blocked her after that. She's since posted a Facebook rant about being emotionally crucified by an unhealed family rooted in feminine resentment. Someone screenshotted it. Her cover photo is now a blurry image of the cracked moon water jar. It's been a few days. Dad's been quiet but lighter. He even laughed yesterday when Lila asked if we should start a family podcast called Poisoned by a Ghost. Matt said, only if we get Angela to do the intro in a British accent. Don't ask, she randomly used one for 10 minutes during her bridal shower. We're still unpacking that. It's wild how someone can come into your life, spin it like a tornado, and then vanish, leaving wine stains, passive-aggressive crystals, and a cracked mason jar in their wake. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to tolerate people who wrap control in spiritual buzzwords. Grief is not toxic. Love doesn't demand erasure. And calling someone's dead mom a curse will, in fact, get you red-wined. Exactly 1 week after the Vowpocalypse, we were sitting around Dad's living room watching Wheel of Fortune when the doorbell rang. Lila peeked out the window. Why is there a man holding flowers, a yoga mat, and is that a guitar? It was a delivery guy. Paid in full. Handed Dad a note written on, not joking, seed paper, the kind you plant in soil. The message. Let these wildflowers grow where bitterness once bloomed. I will return to cleanse what trauma could not. Matt, did she just threaten to garden us? Me. It's giving cult leader energy. We laughed. Nervously. The next day, Sunday afternoon, Angela showed up. Uninvited. Wearing white linen, no shoes, hair in a messy bun, carrying a bowl. Like she was about to perform a cleansing ritual or sell homemade hummus. Dad was in the garage, so she rang the bell. Lila opened the door just wide enough to say, "You should leave. For real this time." Angela just smiled and said, "I'm here to clear the spiritual debris. I brought sage, a peace offering, and a forgiveness chant. I'll just need 10 minutes of silence and open minds." Then she held up a bowl of salt water and said, "This is for ancestral grief release." We closed the door. Not slamming. Just done. Angela stood on the porch humming loudly for 5 full minutes. Then poured the salt water in our potted fern and walked away barefoot down the street like some sort of sad crystal witch. Lila took a video. Captioned it, and that's why our fern is now emotionally clear. It got 17K likes on TikTok. Angela sent one last email. Just a single line. I release all of you with love and return your pain to the earth. Matt replied from a new burner Gmail. Earth says no thanks. We haven't heard from her since. Dad? Still decompressing. He says the silence is weird but nice. He's back in therapy, mostly to unpack how he almost married someone who believes furniture holds trauma. Matt? Moved out last week. He took the wine-stained wedding invitation and framed it. Lila? Started writing a comedy blog about family drama. Her latest post? My stepmother tried to exorcise our fern. Me? I'm back to school soon. Just processing. Laughing. Healing. And honestly, grateful we saw her real face before the paperwork was signed. No new stepmom. No fake family vision boards. Just us. Imperfect, messy, and unbothered. The fern died. Yeah. Forgot to mention, the fern she poured salt water into? It's dead now. We buried it in the backyard with a tiny sign that says, Victim of Spiritual Manslaughter, 2025. If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.